Hello and welcome to the Next Gen Racing YouTube channel. I know what you're thinking, this does look a bit odd. Unfortunately, Sam isn't feeling too great, so it's just me to run through my top 5 best bets of the weekend. And of course, it is the Aintree Festival, the world's most watched horse race. The Grand National takes centre stage, and hopefully we can continue some good form and find a couple of winners. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Coming in at number 5 is going to be Cambron for the Aintree Handicap Hurdle at 9-1. Of course, we all saw how close he went again in the Coral Cup, and given less testing ground, he probably would have won the race. Of course, Langadan went and did the business in the end. Great to get his name into every single video where possible. But Cambron, I think he's actually been quite harshly treated. He's up £5. The slight drop back in trip should help, and we saw it last year when he won at Punchestown. He quite likes going on to the Coral Cup and then going one step further and winning in April. He has a very good record in the spring. The ground at the moment is good to soft, good in places. We're expecting between 5 to 10 millimetres of rain. If there's less than that, I think Cambron will not be going off 9-1 on Friday, and I think he has a cracking chance. So Cambron is 9-1 for the Aintree Handicap Hurdle, and I think he'll be able to go close yet again at Aintree. Next, we're going to hop over to Chepstow, where Spirit Donu is running in a handicap hurdle at 4:52 at Chepstow on Saturday for the Gary Moore team, and I've been so impressed with him so far. He won his last 3 assignments in good style. When he won at Sandown, that time was actually quicker than the Imperial Cup. He gave Havela £12 and won in good style. Havela since finished 3rd at Ascot in a handy little handicap hurdle behind Blue King, Doro, and also Affadil. So I think Spirit Donu is a very, very capable juvenile. 4-year-old actually won this race 2 years ago. I think he'll also be a decent price as well. And I go as far to say I wouldn't have been surprised if he even went very close in the Boodles. I have really high hopes of this lad, and I think he's a very, very, very good juvenile. And I think he'll be taking out this handicap hurdle at Chepstow on Saturday. So as I say, I think he would have been a massive Boodles contender, and hopefully them not going to the Boodles means he'll be able to pick up a few big pots, and this will be one of them. Coming in at number 2 is actually a mad selection, so I do apologise in advance, but it's going to be a Grand National selection, and it's at 150-1. And Born by the Sea takes his chance in the National off bottom weight off 137. He's actually a couple of pounds wrong at the weight, so he's not well handicapped, but I think he's been crying out for a marathon trip. He ran in the plate last time out, finished 14th of 23, but went completely under the radar. He was one of my ones to watch from the Cheltenham Festival. He recorded a final furlong time, quickest in the race. He was a length and a half quicker than Gevre, who of course finished 2nd in the Irish National last time out, and also 4 lengths quicker than the winner Seddon. I think he's been crying out for this marathon trip. I know staying on over 2 miles doesn't exactly mean you're going to be staying on over 4 at Aintree, but he was 5th in a Kerry National back in September 2021 when he was staying on as well. And every time he's run over 2 miles 6 at Galway or 3 miles, he has been staying on at the line. And I do think he is worth a go at this marathon trip. He hasn't been, obviously he's very exposed. He hasn't been even mentioned once in the market at all, but I think Born by the Sea could surprise a few people. I'm not going to say he's going to win, of course I'm not going to say that. The bookmakers are giving him a 0.6% chance of winning, but I perhaps think he's a tiny bit overpriced, and maybe he's due a 2% chance of winning instead. So I think he could be a little bit of value. Hopefully he can run a good race. No one's looked at him whatsoever for the race. He's not well handicapped, but I think Born by the Sea has been crying out for a marathon trip. And hey, if there's a 150-1 winner of the Grand National, you'd like to be on it, eh? And last, but oh my word, by no means least, the nap of the Aintree Festival will be no surprise to any of you who've watched the channel before. It's going to be a Hoi Seigneur in the Betway Bowl, or the Aintree Bowl, as it's also called. Brian Hughes takes the ride, which is a little bit of a shame. It would have been nice to see Derek Fox on board with such a quirky character. There is a massive question mark if Brian Hughes can get him to settle and jump out in front. But look, the Gold Cup, I thought he got into an absolutely marvellous rhythm. Derek Fox set the fractions absolutely beautifully and made a mistake and fell. Goodness me, a Hoi Seigneur falling. He didn't quite get the landing gear out this time, but he absolutely loves Aintree. We've seen Brave Man's Game in the last 2 years. He's had a tough race, gone to Aintree at Cheltenham, and gone to Aintree last year. Of course, he didn't actually run at Cheltenham, but Paul Nicholls said it took a lot out of him just travelling there, and I think Hoysignol's absolutely primed for this. Depending if he can bounce back from the fall, hopefully he'll have his spring ground. Of course, you've got the likes of Conflated in there, who also had a tough race in the Gold Cup. You've got Shishkin. I really can't understand that angle. He didn't jump very well. Yes, he was staying on in the Ryanair. The step up to 3 miles is definitely worth it, but I also think at 6-1, Hoysignol is just completely overlooked. It's very intriguing that Lucinda Russell has picked Brian Hughes. Doesn't usually use Brian Hughes for her rides, but she does with a Hoysignol in the bowl. Look, he absolutely loves it around Aintree. He loves spring ground. He loves maturing as he goes on throughout the season. He just gets better and better. I'm not saying he would have got close to Galopin de Champeau Braveman's game in the Gold Cup, but I think he probably would have been third. I think he was setting unbelievable fractions out in front. He was jumping well. We know he stays. We know he likes all sorts of ground. And he's also an underdog who proves people wrong time and time again. We saw it in the Cotswolds Chase. He's such a lovable rogue. And I think if he gets into a good rhythm out in front, he's going to be very hard to catch. Another one in the bowl, who I'm also going to give a mention to, is Garlaw, is 80-1. I'll also be having a little bit each way on Garlaw. I think he was staying on in the Ryanair. He's been crying out for this 3 miles, of course. Fell at Doncaster over 3 miles, but I think he's also definitely worth a go over 3 miles. He was staying on at the line in the Ryanair. He had a very good final section, of course, as Shishkin did as well. But, I mean, he's 30 times the price of Shishkin. So, Garlaw, I have a little each-way saver on. But it's a Hoysignol day on Thursday. So, strap yourselves in. Brian Hughes is going to be the mustard man and lift him home. Once again, thanks for watching. We hit 1.5k subscribers a few days ago, so it's absolutely great that you guys keep watching. Do like and comment who your best bets of the weekend are. And yes, we'll see you next week.